diploma in career guidance. That is College of Career Guidance and Development. They offer a diploma in career guidance. So if you're here and you're looking to advance your services into career guidance, then the College of Career Guidance and Development are your best choice. And then we have Fina Gardens Resort. Fina Gardens Resort is a hotel located in Naivasha. They have given us an offer. If you're a follower of Get It Right, go to Fina Gardens along Moi South Lake. You mention my name, Grace Nzula, or you say that you are from Atara Solutions, and you automatically get 10% of your bill. But if you go on holiday in August, book 2 nights and they'll give you a night for free. So you can live here on a Thursday. Yeah, the cold is doing that thing to me. So you can live here on a Thursday, and by Saturday, you spend the night on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday they'll give you the night for free. And if you've gone there for a conference, for example, it starts on Tuesday, so you can pay your Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday they'll give you the night for free, and of course you check out on Friday. So for August, that is the offer they have for us. And all you need to do is get there and say that you are from Get It Right, or say that Nzula sent you, and you'll be given either 10% discount or the extra night. Then we have Panessa Training Institute. If you're on this call and wish to study carpentry, or you have a passion for woodworking, then we will be able to give you a certificate. All the NITA, we are a NITA accredited institution, and registered to also administer exams for NITA. So as a test center for NITA. So Panessa Training Institute for anyone who wishes to study woodworking. And then we have WeClean. WeClean is a carpet cleaning company. They have a carpet cleaner that cleans your carpet within 6 minutes. They do free deliveries in Nairobi and out of Nairobi. Free delivery, pickup and deliveries in Nairobi. And they pick up your carpet today, they'll be able to bring it back tomorrow. You can imagine in this cold, please don't sit with dirty carpets just because you're not too sure when they'll get dry. We have WeClean. Get in touch with me and I'll be able to link you up with them. We have Kapula Mintito. They sell mapochopocho ya pwani, ama kama vile mabuyu, cashew nuts. They sell honey. They sell CMOS gel. Kapula Mintito, they are an online shop. They are located in Mombasa, but they do deliveries countrywide. And their mabuyus are like no other. I tell you that for a fact. And then we have the Career Management Center. Career Management Center is led by our very own Jane Mutisia. They have a wonderful, wonderful program for women who have taken a break for motherhood, or you took a break to take care of your family, and now you're looking to bounce back into work. They have an awesome program for that. Please, if you're a lady here who took a break and you're wishing to go back into work now, then you need to get in touch with us, the Career Management Center, and they'll be able to walk the journey with you. And then, of course, we have Ames College of Business for all your business courses, and as well as CHRP. So without further ado, I know this topic today is very, very sensitive, and I know most of you are really, really excited and are looking forward to understanding how do you get money into the bank. And today you'll keep excusing me. Yeah, but we will pull through, and I am happy that I have Kevin here. And I'm so sorry for those people who join us on Facebook. I don't know, somehow that did not work, but we will try again. But in the meantime, allow us to just jump on to the business of today. We have with us Madam Anne Wamonje. Madam Anne Wamonje is a friend of mine. Actually, she's a personal friend, besides being a colleague. And we were also in campus together. So, and she's excellent on matters HR. She's a good coach. And yeah, I mean, I can say a lot about Anne, but she's here to tell us about how do we make sure we have money in the bank. You know, pesa ni sabuni ya roho. And you can engage us on the chat as Anne is getting ready and tell us, what are these things you call money, eh? Mimi nasemanga pesa tunarudishia mwili pole. For the Ugandans, or for people who are from all over the country, I know that we have somebody from Somalia, we have somebody from quite a number of diverse places. But yes, we say in Kenya, we say that money is the soap to the heart. It is a darling. I am literally loosely translating these things, yeah? Money is a... Hey, sasa hii kizungu bwana. Where is Igave? Yeah, so anywho. Anne, How do we get money into the bank?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anwa Monje. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we
Please
can.
confirm, Kevin. Yes. All right.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
all right. So today's topic, we are basically going to talk about salary negotiations. And I'm not going to go into my full introduction as such because Grace has done that for me. So I'm just going to share my screen as we move forward. And just to summarize on my introduction, as Grace has put it, I'm a HR practitioner. I've practiced HR for over 10 years. And currently I'm working as a HR generalist and as a consultant. And I'm very honored to be here, Grace. Thank you so much for the invitation. So as we move on to the subject for today, which we are going to be talking about salary negotiations. And the reason why this is a topic that I would like to discuss is because sometimes when we join employment or within employment, when we start to become discontent with what we are getting paid, the issue of salary comes up as a factor. And it is important that as you approach the issue of salary, because even as we say that money is not a motivator as such for people, with these very tough economic times, I can tell you that money is one of the top motivators for anybody who is seeking a job or who is currently at a workplace, aside from all those other important factors that we, of course, keep discussing about. But then, when we're talking about negotiations of salary, there are two instances where you may require to have this happen during the recruitment process, where you have gone through the entire process and it has come to a point where an offer is made, and now you need to agree to accept or reject the offer. So if you have done any interviews before, one of the questions that people will give you a runaround about is, what is your salary expectation? Each time I ask a candidate that question, they take quite a while to respond. I'm not very sure why that happens, but for some reason, maybe people get nervous along the way and they just forget what they had anticipated. And then when you are not very sure about what you are expecting, then it means that at some point you might accept an offer that you probably did not plan for, or that is not actually what you were looking at when you were applying for that job. So the next other time when you will require a salary negotiation would be when you are asking for an increment. So this is a situation where you're already on the job, and a time has come when you feel like the amount that you're getting paid vis-a-vis the work that you are doing are not commensurate. Or there are people who might probably just want a salary increment because it's been 3 years or 4 years since my salary was revised. So this is something I got online, and salary, the negotiation table looks like something like this, where the recruiter is like, what is your salary expectation? And the candidate would be responding as in, what's the salary range for this role? So it means, as a candidate, you are probably not very prepared on what your expectations are, because preparation when you're going into the negotiation process is very key, so that regardless of what the range is, I know it is, there are companies who are free to, who would freely give you the information about the salary range. There are people who keep that under wraps, but whether they share that information with you or not, as an individual, you need to be able to have your expectations very clear. So when you're asked, you're not going round and round and round. At the end of the day, salaries are paid in Kenya shillings, or for those who are paid in dollars, whatever currency you're getting paid with, that is the amount that you need to be able to speak about. Now, when you are, the importance of negotiating for salary is one. You will, when you walk into an organization, you will find two people in one job level that are probably earning a different salary. And the question would be, doesn't this company have a proper salary structure? I will tell you freely, most companies don't have that structure. So what happens is that people negotiate for their salaries. Salaries are negotiated. And sometimes, because people are cutting costs, if you come in and say a lower amount, What happens is you might get that, and when you walk into the job, you realize that somebody else who is probably doing the same role, as in who is on the same level as you within the company, is getting paid a bit higher. So that begins to frustrate you because you're wondering, we are on the same job group. Why is somebody else getting paid better than me? But the thing is, there was an opportunity for you at some point to negotiate this, but you undersold yourself, or probably because you did not have the right information, you made a decision on what you are going to ask for based on other things except the right information that you needed. So some of the tips that you need to know about when you are negotiating is: one, you must be able to know your worth. Anytime you walk into a negotiation of an offer or a negotiation of a salary increment, it is very important for you to establish, what am I worth? What is my worth? And when I'm talking about your worth, how you know your worth is, what is your education background? What is your experience in the role that you are looking to take up, or the role that you have been doing so far that is requiring you to ask for an increment? And number three, you will also want to know, if it is a role that is already existing or if it is a new one, what is the job description? What will it require? For instance, there are roles that will require travel, there are roles that will require some other special, there are special requirements within that job. So as you are looking to set an amount to ask for, you need to know, if I ask for 100,000 or if I ask for 50,000, will that be enough? No salaries are never enough, but is it something that I can accept? Then also you need to do market research. And market research is something you do whether you are within the job itself and you're looking for an increment, or you're just walking into a new job. Because the market research, different industries pay differently. So somebody working in an IT company in a HR role might not be getting paid the same amount like somebody working in an NGO on the same role. So you need to do your market research and establish, in this industry, what is the pay for the role that I am taking up. Number two, there are other conditions, other factors that affect salary, how much a role is paid for in a company. Like for instance, we've just come out of, or we are still in, a COVID pandemic kind of situation. And we've seen since 2020, so many companies have struggled a lot to be able to get back up. And some have managed to remain stable, some have crumbled, some have picked up. So it's all a different ball game for each company. So as you're doing your market research, you need to know, whatever it is that I'm asking for, is this company really able to afford it? Because if you're asking for a startup, if you're asking a startup for, say, a HR officer role, and you're asking a startup to pay you probably 150,000, they might not be in most of them might not be in a very good position to pay that, because really they cannot afford it. And also other external factors around it would not allow them to do that. So then the other thing is, you need to be prepared. You need to prepare your presentation, and I'm going to just attach it to the next one, which is to rehearse it. Because if you do not prepare your presentation, some questions will come up that will shock you. So you will not know how to respond to that. And when you start to kind of situation, then even the employer knows that the employer or the potential employer feels that there's something that they can use to pin you down. So prepare your presentation based on your market research, based on your own analysis of yourself and what you are worth, and rehearse it. If you can rehearse it with somebody you can trust, then that is even better, because they will tell you, oh, you need to change this and that, or here you are sounding a bit rude, please lower your tone, or change this and that in the presentation so it sounds more professional and less demanding. Then also, there has to be an aspect of flexibility and open-mindedness on your part, because if you go in on a very rigid, say, budget, and you say, personally, I am looking for 150,000. And the potential employer or the existing employer is trying to negotiate with you, but you are stuck there, then it means there is really no room for discussion, because what you are saying is you take it or leave it. And that is not a negotiation. So you need to be open-minded and hear from the other party, what are they presenting? And aside from just the money bit that you're asking for, are there other benefits that could be attached? Because sometimes we focus on the basic salary a lot and we forget the other benefits. And all these other benefits, they also cost the company money. So when they total that up, medical cover, airtime, travel allowance, if they have an allowance for vacation, blah, 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 all those, if they add up to the basics that they're giving you, it might amount to much more than what you had even anticipated. So be flexible and be open-minded and hear what else is the employer offering aside from just the salary. Now, show interest in the position. This goes to when you are just joining, or rather looking to join. When you are interviewing, and I'm glad I'm speaking to HR people here, because sometimes when you are interviewing someone and they are more focused on the money itself, I will tell you freely, it's a big turnoff. I know money is important, but every time I ask you a question, you tie it back to the money. Or every other response that you give, it comes back to the salary. It tries to take away, it actually takes away from you the interest that the employer might want to see in you as an individual with regards to the position that you're applying for. And they might start looking at you as too money-minded, as opposed to really interested in performing in the job that they are recruiting you for. And then finally, I know there are so many other tips, but I just summarize them as this. So finally, don't be afraid to walk away. If you have tried everything possible and you feel that whatever is being offered is way below your expectations, then you are free to say no. Thank you so much for the offer, but unfortunately, I'll not be able to accept this, because if you're leaving one job for another, there are several reasons why you are moving jobs. And if one of them is money, and the next job that you move to is not offering you the money that you're looking for, and you've really tried to negotiate and it's just not happening, then there are chances that you might just choose to walk away from that. And secondly, the walking away bit also, during negotiations, sometimes people are very emotional, and people's characters might come out that you don't normally see, or you didn't see during the interview. And some of these things, you might look at them and say, maybe they were just frustrated or what, but it tells you a lot about where you are coming into. So if it gets to a point where you need to walk away, please don't be afraid to walk away. And also, the other thing I would like to add is you need to be very realistic when you're negotiating for salary. And realistic thinking is based on all these other things that I have stated, because if you are coming in as an intern and they are asking, what is your salary expectation? This is your first job, you're fresh from the university, you have never worked anywhere else except your industrial attachment for 3 months, and you're just walking into a new company, and they're asking you for a HR intern expectation, and you are saying, I would like to have 120,000. I will tell you, the panel will be looking at you with their eyes open wide like this, because they're wondering, which universe are you coming from? So when it comes also to negotiations, there are don'ts. Now, when you look at this image that I have on the screen, and the HR is asking, why are you asking for such a high salary when you have no experience in this field? And the candidate the response is, well, the job is so much harder when you don't know what you're doing. If I get that response, I would not take you seriously. That is number one. Number two, it shows that you are not very well prepared as far as this process is concerned. Then also, the other don't that is there is, do not issue ultimatums. Ultimatums are very, it is very risky when you're offering an ultimatum at a negotiation table, especially when you are in the existing job. Because once you offer ultimatum, you close the door to any further negotiation. So, however you guys choose to discuss it, try to have a wiggle room around it and avoid putting your foot down and saying, if you don't give me this, then just know that I'm resigning. You can still choose to resign, but you can always resign in a better way without issuing ultimatums. Now, one thing I want to also add here, when you are negotiating for your salary, there is something I like to call an acceptable minimum. What is your acceptable minimum? If your acceptable minimum is 80,000 shillings, then it means if you are asked what your salary expectation is, then you cannot give 80,000. You have to give something above 80. So if you say, for instance, you put it at 120 or 150, and you negotiate and come back to 80, it means that at the end of the day, you still walk away with what you had anticipated. The point is, you might have gotten a bit more, but even if they settle on the one that you, in your heart of hearts, that is what you wanted, then you will still go home not feeling bad. So make sure your acceptable minimum, whatever you're quoting, is above what you are actually willing to accept. So how do you prepare for this and actually ask for a raise and get it? One, and this I'm going to speak about this for people who are already in the existing position. One, you need to prepare a business case. How do you prepare a business case? At the end of the day, if you are already in that position and you're going to seek an increment, the argument cannot be, I have been here for the last 7 years and my salary has never been uh, increased. Because there are people who have been working the same job for the last 7 years. They can literally do what they do with their eyes closed. So it is the same thing that you have been doing, you started doing on the first year is the same thing that you're doing in 7 years. So what you basically have is 1 year experience for 7 years. So if you are using that to as your base for asking for a salary increment, the employer would be asking, what is the value addition? We have already seen what you currently do. Is there any value add? So when you're preparing a business case, you need to show the employer that so far, this is what I have done for the last 2 years or the last 6 months or the last 1 year. And these are my achievements. If you look at this, this is where we started from, and this is how far we are. And in the next 6 months or 1 year, these are the plans that I have in place so that we can move from this level to the next level. What that gives you is the employer is able to see a value addition that you would bring. So even if they do not have the money at the moment, they would start looking for it because they know if they give that to you, then you might probably move to the stages that you have stated. And if you look at the second last point, I'm just going to bring it up to tie it up with the first point. And I've said, sell your value as an employee and not your problem. What happens is, so look at this meme that I have. And this employee has arrived at the boss's desk and they're asking, boss, I need a raise because my wife had 9 children yesterday. Trust me, your employer does not care. 99% of employers do not care whether your wife had 15 children or just one. What they care about is when you walk into the company, what value are you adding to the business? So do not go there and start talking about, oh, your landlord increased your rent, and you see your other child just joined Form 1, and this and this and this is happening around my life. All those things are happening around so many other people's lives within the company. But the question is, what is your business case? What value are you going to add to this business so that if I add you an additional 50,000, within 3 months, I will see a return on my investment. Then You need to also research business and industry conditions. And I have spoken about this initially, but I'm just going to emphasize this because this is one aspect that we so much forget, and we focus so much on, I just want this and this, but you're not looking at, is the environment currently favorable? If your salaries have not been paid for the last 2 months because the company is saying we do not have enough cash flow, when you go to your boss and you're asking for a salary increment, there's a, even if they tell you I'm going to increase your salary to 150,000 or 500,000, if you have not received the 50 that they owe you for the last 2 months, how sure are you that you're going to receive this 150 that they're offering you right now? So research, know the conditions that you're working with, then consider your timing. Timing is very key when you are asking for a raise. You know why? Because if for the last 3 months your employer has been complaining about you and everything else around your job, and the best solution for you that you come up with is to go and ask for a salary raise at that moment, I can promise you the answer is no. So look at the timing that you are approaching this conversation. And also, even as you look at the timing, you need to also look at who are you negotiating this with? Who are you asking for a salary raise? If you are asking, if you are, let's say you are, a salesperson, and you're looking for a salary raise, and you go and talk to the operations manager about it. How does the operations manager help you? So you need to know the timing and the person, that the decision maker, that is the person you talk to, because they are in a position to tell you this is we can manage this one for now or we cannot. But if you talk to the operations manager, the most they will do is listen and probably just feel bad for you, and then they move on with their lives. So that is key. Then also you need to negotiate beyond the pay. I have spoken also about it. Negotiating beyond the pay is looking at the entire package as opposed to just looking at the salary itself. Because if you choose to look at the basic pay alone, then you might miss out on all other very important benefits. And because right now, I know very many people value healthcare. I'm not very sure about retirement at the moment. The people that we are coming into employment at the moment, I'm not very sure they really care about retirement, but people care about healthcare. So if the employer is saying at the moment, we might not increase your pay, but we are going to introduce a health cover of this amount that will cover you, your spouse, and 2 kids. And also, we can add in, because I know you move a lot, we can add in your traveling allowance. So instead of the 10,000 you're currently getting, we'll give you a 20, and all those other things. If they are all totaled up, then you will see that the pay, yes, remains standard, but at least there's something that you are receiving that is above uh, what you are currently receiving. So, Grace, this brings me to the close of my conversation. I know I've taken a bit of time, but I would like us to also take up questions from the audience so we can see how to assist the different people who are probably struggling around this area.
All right, Anne. Thank you very much. And I am glad that you made it short and sweet so that we can take more questions because this is a very, very personal topic. And it is important that we really tackle that. But thank you for sharing some of the highlights. And I guess we will start a question. And let me just point out this. If you are on this call and you're looking for an increment, the one thing that you can be sure of is that employers will not pay you because you have problems. And Anne has said that. I'm saying that because of what's on the screen. I hear a lot of people come and say, Madam, I don't know what has happened. So my wife has done what, my husband has done what, I have my children are out of school and da 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 da, please give me an increment. I can tell you for a fact, I am an employer. And I can tell you that we really will not pay because you have problems. We will empathize. We might give you an advance. We might even give you something to go and sort out your issues because that falls under employee wellness. However, If you want us to increase the wage bill, you must bring a business case to us and say, this is what we are going to gain from you. But because this is not my training, it is for Anne, allow me to just take this question from Elisha. What is what is view on the recommendation that companies to publish salary range when advertising for a job?
Okay, this is something that has come up a lot of late, and if you have been on the LinkedIn streets, then I know you would have read this there a lot. In Kenya at the moment, there is no, as HR people, we always ask, is it legal? There is no law in Kenya that states that an employer needs to share the salary on an advertisement. So that gives employers a leeway to wiggle around it. And there are people who are very upfront and they will say, budget is 25,000. So, even as you're applying, then the most that could happen is 25,000. But then most of the employers don't share this publicly. So, I mean, you cannot fault them on that. It is good practice to share it, but even if they don't, it is not legal.
Okay. And Jackson is saying, is it a good question to ask interviewers what else they're offering apart from salary during the question session?
Yes, it is very important that you ask that. You know why it is? Because assuming, for instance, you are moving jobs, and in the current job that you have, aside from the salary, you have other allowances that you receive. You might want to know, even if I move to this new position and I maintain the same salary, would the benefits that I'm currently enjoying with my employer, would that be extended in my new job? Because that will form the decision as to whether you accept the offer or not. So yes, it's absolutely right for you to ask that question.
Okay. And Ivy is saying, how should a fresh graduate respond to the question, previous or current salary? That usually is a requirement in some applications. And what you have been involved in previously is volunteer work.
Now, for fresh graduates, let's start with the volunteer work that you have stated. I believe that whether it is volunteer work or it is paid work or it is internship that you are the industrial attachment, you learn something or you gain something within that period. So if you are being asked about experience, you need to state categorically what you are doing during the industrial attachment that you are undertaking or during the volunteer work that you are undertaking with the previous employer. If there is none, then you also just come out and say, currently, I do not have any experience in the position. However, I am open to learning, and if given an opportunity, you can gauge me within the first 3 months and see how that works out. Now, when it comes to the issue of salary expectation when you're a fresh graduate, this comes back to the issues I raised about doing research. What is the position that you are moving in, you are looking to be employed in? What is the size of the company that you are looking to join? The academic background, that is clear because we are saying probably you have a degree or a diploma. So once you have the research on the industry, the level you are joining in, and all these other things that you need, then you can say for an entry level position, I'm asking for 25,000, or I'm asking for 30,000, or I'm asking for 15,000. So please do your research first about the company and then make a decision and come up with something that is manageable, not too grand, that will make the potential employer look at you like this one needs some reality check first.
Okay. Gloria Maiga from HR Managers Association of Uganda. Thank you, Gloria, for joining us. And shout out to all HR Mau people on the call, especially my good friend Herbert Zake, and of course, Brian Masisi. Gloria is saying, thank you so much, Anne, for the timely presentation. Kindly elaborate on using the current economic situation to negotiate for a cost of living adjustment for staff salaries or own salary.
All right. So now this cost of living and the current economic situation, it might be something you want to use to negotiate for an increment or an adjustment for the staff. But as you are using that, like I put it, you need to also state the value addition. Because just walking into your employer's office and saying, they increased the price of flour from 180 to 250. So also the bus stop has increased to this amount and all that, and ask them to increase your salary based on that, I will tell you that there is a very high likelihood that that adjustment will not come. But if you state all the other things that we spoke about, and you also add in the bit of cost of living, then I think you have a better case as opposed to just going in with the cost of living. Because even that employer that you are talking to, it is not that they are living in a different country. They are still operating with you in the same country, and the cost of living is hitting them as it is hitting you. So they need to see what are you bringing aside from the problems that you have presented, which all employers are aware of. I will tell you that freely.
Okay, having answered that, there's a question here from Farida, and Farida is asking, some opportunities do not have measurable achievements, example, support staff. How do you ask for this, for a raise from the HR?
I think, in my opinion, every role is measurable. We don't need to measure a role based on figures all the time. Like, for instance, if you're a support staff, let's say you are somebody working in the reception, or you are an office assistant, how do I measure whether this person is performing their job properly? For instance, let me put the office assistant bit. We are looking at if the role involves cleaning of the offices, making sure everything is tidy, having tea at this time, you are on point as far as your budget is concerned in terms of purchasing the items that are required in the office, all that. When I am measuring your performance, I will base it on that. There are no figures that I will be using to measure your performance because your role does not involve that. You see, so you can still go in and ask for an increment based on the role that you're performing and state, this is currently what I am doing. And I believe that in the past 6 months, I have made progress in this and that and that. And I believe that if you give me an increment, this could probably motivate me to do further. Not that I am saying that I will not be motivated to do more, but I would appreciate an increment at this point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate your presentation, very brief. Now, my question goes into organizations where you have pay structures, and you alluded to it. It becomes difficult at that point then to negotiate for a salary because there is an entry point that every beginner will have to go through. And it also becomes a challenge where you become as a new staff member, and you find others who are on the same grade, who have worked in the organization longer than you, who are earning, well, maybe somewhere in the median of the grade. So how do you negotiate to get to go even beyond a median when you're new, yet the structure is already in place, and you have others who are already on that grade who are earning less than what you could be asking for? How do you get about to get a salary, then a better salary at that point?
All right. Thank you so much for the question. Now, there are companies where the salary structure is very clear. When you are at level A, then you know your salary is 25,000. If you move to level B, then you will get 45,000. So that is standard for everyone. So the only other time that your salary might be increased is if you move job level. So you need to be very clear about that from the moment you are joining the organization, because you see, if for instance, in the government, we have those salary structures that are very clearly laid out. And even as they make as they put the advertisements out there, I am in this job group and I am in that. So you already know the salary that comes with that. So going in there to start a negotiation process, I am not sure how long that will take for you to get that increment. But there's a very high chance that it might not come until and unless you move to the next job level. And I also know that for you to move to the next level, there are certain requirements that you need to meet. So have you met those requirements for you to be asking for something above what the rest of the people within your job group are receiving? Because that would be able to guide you very well in as far as asking for the raise or negotiating for a higher salary. But when the salary bands are very clear, it is very difficult to negotiate and get an increment unless you know people who also know other people that could make it work.
Okay. Can you say something about pay cuts? Can someone people do take pay cuts in some cases. Can you say something about it? Is it a good move to take a pay cut, or do you think that it undermines your career growth when you accept a pay cut, especially in a new role?
Now, when it comes to pay cuts, there are different reasons why issues of pay cuts arise. And sometimes pay cuts might arise because the organization has run through some difficult financial times. And there are two options. Either we release some people within the company, or for us to be able to maintain all of you, then we have to agree that we have to take pay cuts. And this will be standardized in such a way that it is not that Anne was given a pay cut, but Kevin's salary was increased and Grace remained in the same salary. So what happens around pay cuts is there has to be a conversation with the employee, and the employer has to explain to the employee that these are the reasons why this is where we are as a business, and for sustainability purposes, we have to reduce the salaries of the staff across the board, and unfortunately you are affected. So there is always the option of exiting to move to another organization if you have that, or you maintain that pay cut until such a point when the employer is now able to again come back to the original salary. But pay cuts, and we've seen that a lot during and after COVID, because nearly all organizations were affected by this. And I know there are so many people who took pay cuts that until now, they probably have not gone back to their original salaries and are still wiggling around somewhere there.
But that's for the internal candidate. And what if I am joining an organization where I thought that their pay is so good, only to get there and I find I was earning actually more than what they are offering? Or even my salary is way beyond even the highest point for that grade. And then do I take a pay cut at that time? Is that a good move? Would you advise people to take a pay cut as they pursue their career?
Yeah, I would say yes or no, based on your reasons why you would like to take that pay cut. Because for instance, where you are working currently, you are earning a higher salary, but the working environment is not very ideal, or it does not provide you with flexibility for you to do other things. But you have this new employer or a potential employer that is looking to give you a new job. So your salary will be lower, but it is flexible. So what that means, it gives you room to do other things. So the decision is always yours at the end of the day to say, do I downgrade to a lower salary and probably have room to do other work, or do I maintain my existing job and continue to earn more, but I do not have room to do other things? So based on the reasons why you want to take that pay cut, you can choose to or not to. But again, the other thing I want to ask you, that's Richard, right? The other question I want to ask is, why are you just finding out that it is a pay cut? Because before you take up a job, there was an offer that was given. And when that offer was given, you had time to analyze the offer and then make a decision. So you did not just walk into a lower salary. There was a process that was followed, and you made a decision that I am moving in to take this lower pay because of 1, 2, 3, 4, as I have mentioned.
Yeah, I think I like the answer, especially on the reasons that one has for taking a pay cut. It's true, a job could offer you that flexibility, or even you could be an expert returning home, and therefore the value of being home cannot be compensated from a monetary perspective. So there are all those reasons that could make you take a pay cut. However, I would also encourage those who are in the corporate world, and you mentioned it, to look at employment from the public service. The public service, you may not earn as much as what is paid in the corporates, but serving again your motherland, again, cannot be monetized. So those are some of the reasons probably that I would say as professionals, we may need to start looking at what I'm calling a pay cut. It's really not a pay cut. It's sacrificing that I was earning 100. I'm okay to earn the 80, but I'll be home and I'm serving my country. And I'm still able to pay my bills. So probably that's an angle that we may want to be looking at as professionals in the corporate world, so that we can also take that into the public service. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you very much, Gigi. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it depends on why you want to take the pay cut. But now an interesting question by Bahati came in. Let's flip the coin. How do you tell people no when they come to you negotiating for a salary?
I tell people tell people no. Now, from my own experience, sometimes somebody may come to ask for a salary increment, and I will tell you, HR people, most of the time you are in a better position to know what is actually happening within the company. So employees might be walking around and they might think that things are rosy, but behind the scenes, things are not as rosy as they seem. And HR is knowledgeable about some of the struggles that the company is going through. And when somebody comes to you and asks for an increment, as a HR person, I will tell you, you know whether this is possible or not possible. Why? Because you have background information on what is going on within the company. So when it comes to saying no, we don't normally just say, no, we are not going to add you any money or something like that. We have the professional language that you use to go around it and try to explain to the employee as honestly as possible without putting the company in a way that they look bad, making the employer look bad in the presence of the employee. But find a professional language to explain to the employee that no, at the moment, unfortunately, we are not able to do an increment, but let's see how business goes around. And I think we can come back to this discussion later, because it is not what you tell the employee, it is how you say it that really makes the difference.
Okay, and then there's a million and one questions on, you talked about research when people are going for interviews, researching on the salary skills of that specific organization. 2 questions have been, okay, they're like 10 questions on that research question. But now, 2 things that I would want you to answer. 1, somebody is asking, is there a place where we can find this information? And 2, how do you research?
Now, when you're doing your research, you might not get the exact amount that these employers are paying unless it's a position in the government, and probably that is public knowledge. But if it is in the private sector, you might not have the actual amounts that are being paid unless you have an internal person that will give you this information, which 99% of the time is not possible. But aside from that, your research will be consisting on, 1, what is the industry that you are operating in? What you want to see, who are the biggest competitors of this company that you are looking to join? Because if it is competing with heavyweights, then you can almost imagine that probably they are paying a bit higher than smaller companies. And also on the research that you are doing, you are also asking around people who are probably working in the same, you can ask HR people who are working in the same level in different industries. How are they, what are they getting paid for this position? So that gives you a rough idea of what you should negotiate around. You will not get the exact amount that I'm going to emphasize on, but you will have a rough idea based on the all these other factors that I have mentioned. And Grace, just before you ask the next question, there's a point that I really wanted to emphasize on that I think I have not mentioned. When you are doing a salary negotiation and an offer has been agreed on, it is important that it is put down in writing. That you sat with your boss in the office and you agreed that they will increase your salary from 150,000 to 200,000, and you live like that. Then 1 month, you don't see anything. 2 months, the 3rd month, when you go to ask, they tell you, I was not part of that meeting, and you are left wondering, hey? So make sure it is written. If it is not written, it did not happen. Very simple. I think, Grace, you've heard me say that 1,001 times. Put it down in writing. If the employer is not forthcoming or your boss is not forthcoming with putting it down in writing, initiate an email from your side and just say further to the conversation that we had in your office on 1, 2, 3 dates. We had agreed on ABCD. Kindly confirm. Because people suffer from selective amnesia all the time. And when it comes to money, people forget a lot, especially when they owe you money. So have it put down in writing.
And I think you've answered the question by Musembi. If during the interview where you promised a salary raise after probation and you don't get it, you find it as a technique applied to most of the employees in this organization, what should you do?
We need to agree. When you say you are promised a salary raise after probation, what does that mean? Did you sit during the negotiation and they told you verbally that after 3 months, we will raise your salary to this amount? Or was it put down in the contract? Because if it was promised in the boardroom, 90% of the time, it will not be fulfilled because it was just a verbal conversation. And it happens a lot to many people. And after the 3 months, frustrations start to build in. So if there are promises that have been made as far as this revision is concerned, let it be put down on the contract. Read it, let the employer sign it, and you sign it. So after the 3 months, you can come back to the conversation and say, this is what we had agreed. I have finished my 3 months. These are my deliverables. I have achieved them. So let's talk about the increment. Otherwise, the employer will start telling you about, oh, business is bad. We have been struggling. Right now, we cannot even pay rent, blah, blah, all those other things. Let them write it down.
Okay. And Carol Jangiru is saying, from a legal point of view, is it in order for an employer to give benefit of house bonus based on family status, that is single or with a family?
First of all, that is discrimination. I would want to consider that to be discrimination. And it is very inappropriate, and I'm saying this very loudly to fellow HR people that are listening to me. When you say things like salary is based on whether somebody is single or they are married or whether they have kids or they do not have kids, I think you're missing the point. And it is a very shallow argument if you ask me. Because aside, it is none of your business whether they are single or married or they have 1 child or 15 children or whatever. Number 2, the reason you are hiring this person is not because of their 15 children. It's because you have a job that needs to be done and you feel that this person is in a position to do it. So the question here is, can they do the job? If the answer is yes, then offer them the salary. But when you start saying, we can only pay you 50,000 at the moment because you are single, you live alone, and you do not have so much responsibility. How did you know that I do not have responsibilities? And how is that your business in the first place? So let's agree here. If you have a budget for a salary, for a position, it doesn't matter whether the candidate is married or single or with children or without. What matters is the ability to perform the job.
Yeah.
Thank
And
Mhm.
and on the okay, Sheila, maybe you can go and then maybe we can there's a contribution I wanted. Sheila, your hand was up. Okay.
Sheila is thinking, sorry.
Yeah.
There's a question here that goes with what you've talked about, Anne, about initiating a conversation with your manager. It's from an anonymous participant. It's
Mhm.
saying, if you feel you're underpaid and you had to raise the issue with your boss, and he calls to say that he's exiting the company, or even still, he says he leaves the company before actually actualizing. How should you go about it? The new boss comes in, they say they don't have any idea.
Now, when these conversations are happening, it is not about the individual. So, like for instance, when you're talking about the HR, when you're talking about the HR, you're not talking about Anne. You are talking about the HR manager. So whether it is Anne that sits in that position or it is Grace that comes to sit in that position, it is the position that we are concerned about. So if you have a conversation with your boss about uh, an increment and they exit before it is actualized, then the new person that comes in, you start the conversation with them again. And if you start saying, you see, the other person promised me a raise next month, but unfortunately they have exited. Even me, as I am coming on board, I might not actualize that raise because I do not know your background. I do not even know you still as an employee. So I need to know you. I need to know your work performance. I need to know your work history. And then now we can have a conversation around an increment. But if you come to me and say, before Grace left, she had said she would increase my salary, then I am not in a very good position to assist you unless you would want to talk to Grace herself, which is currently not workable. But you need to give the new person also time to learn you and what you are doing. Then you can start that conversation with them again. But if with the previous person, it had been written down that, and there's a document that was signed and you have a copy of it that says your salary will be increased by this amount. Now that one you can ask for, because it is no longer about the new person that has come in. It is an official conversation and it needs to be actualized.
All right. There's something for those of you who are asking for the presentation, you don't really need to type your email. So long as you registered, we have access to your emails and we'll be able to share, including the recording, which we normally post on our Get It Right with the Tara Solutions YouTube channel. And you will forgive us because we started recording a bit late and also went live on Facebook a bit late. So in case you find the recording is a bit not properly as we would have loved it, then please understand. There's somebody who was asking, I had seen a very interesting question. Now, this question about research, I know you have answered a bit of it, but how exactly do we get to know how much this employer is paying? I know personally, I would use the guards in the place to know, to find out more details about the organization, how much do they pay? I know they could lie, but I mean, it's one way, but how exactly can we research?
Like I put it, when you're going to do the research, I'm not very sure whether God will provide you with information about salaries, because that is way above their pay grade, number one. And number two, they have no access to that information from the onset. However, most companies at the moment have websites. You can go to the website and get background information about them. You will know what they do. Some of them are generous enough to also give out the number of employees that are within the company and blah, 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 all that. Then now, let's which company can I take, for instance? I'm trying to find an example, but the point I'm trying to
We don't put ours.
no,
But yeah,
let's use, for instance, Atara Solutions then. Now, when you Atara Solutions is a consultancy firm, you'll want to know, when was this company established? How long have they been in the market? Who are they competing with? If the company was established in 2020 and we are in 2022, this is a company that is still trying to get up. It is everything is going south, left, east, right. They are barely. So it will tell you have a rough idea of whether they the amount of money that you're asking for, whether they can afford it or not. But if it is an established organization and they've been here for the last whatever years, then you can say, if I go with this amount, they can probably lower it or they might increase it. But look at, like I say, you will not have the exact amount, but you can do comparisons based on the industry and based on the length of existence of the company, and also just generally based on what they are dealing with as a company. So the competitors that they are their biggest competitors at that time, and then it will give you something to work with.
Yeah, and I like this question from Rosalind. Hi, Anne. Kindly would you advise a candidate to renegotiate or say they made a mistake on the first interview when they realized they underquoted their expectations?
If you feel that you underquoted and you feel confident about it, then yes, you are free to go and renegotiate. I mean, the worst that could happen is they would say no. But until you go and approach it and say, look, this is what you guys had told me, and I've looked at everything, and I've realized if I accept your offer, then I would be doing an injustice to myself. And for this reason, I would like you guys to reconsider and give me this amount instead. Like I said, the worst that could happen is they say no. Otherwise, there's a possibility that you can renegotiate. Even if they don't get to your new amount, then it could go up.
Shoot your shot.
Yes, shoot your
But Lydia is saying some recruiters ask you of your previous salary to determine how much they can pay you. Is it safe to tell the recruiter that I am not comfortable to answer the question at the moment, at this point in process, but would request them to determine my salary pay based on my skills and work experience?
You are at liberty not to provide that information. However, if you are comfortable with it, just give it. But then, how do you, if you have not provided that information, then what other information are you providing? That is the other question. If I have asked you what is your previous salary and you say, unfortunately, I'm not comfortable discussing that, and you end there, then I know we are not communicating. But if you say, unfortunately, I am not comfortable with saying, with mentioning that at the moment for personal reasons, but based on this job, I believe that if you guys were to offer me this amount, then I would be comfortable with that. Then you have even closed the conversation for the recruiter. So they don't have any other questions to ask you around that, I mean, as much. But don't just say, I am not comfortable answering that question, and then you keep quiet. It sounds kind of rude, if you ask me. Yeah. Yeah.
And Susan is saying, according to industry standard, what is considered a good percent increment when negotiating for a new role? E.g., if I was earning 100K, is asking for 50% increase considered unreasonable?
Asking for 100% increase is reasonable. Asking for 50% increment is reasonable. Asking for 10% is reasonable. The question here is, how much are you asking for? Can you justify the amount that you're asking for? All those other percentages and all those other things, forget about them. If you are earning 150 and you are looking at 250, can you justify the additional 100? If you're earning 150 and you're asking for 160, can you justify the 10,000 that you are adding on top of it? So forget the percentage, but focus on the figures and the justification around how much you are looking to increase.
Okay, and Anne M, please shoot. Anne?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. And it's quite a good session. I'm happy to be part of this. And as we were discussing, something crossed my mind. Today we had a discussion around an employee who had a project at location X, and to him he negotiates for a trip back home. For example, to be having to be buffered some amount for transport as he comes back home in location A. So I don't know if this opens a Pandora box, because for me in the HR advice, I told them I'm not sure if this is a good way to go about it, because at the end of the day, in location A, we might be having employees who are coming from different areas. And I mean, it was not in the part of, it was not an engagement term as we were doing the contract. So I'd like your insight around this issue. Thank you.
Hi, Anne. So now, the answer to this is dependent on how far the location is. Like for instance, if you move an employee from Nairobi to Naivasha, and the office is where they are reporting to work is currently in Naivasha, and it means they have to commute to Naivasha on a daily basis as they settle down, then if they ask for that buffer, I think it is reasonable, because you are the one that has chosen to move them. But if the employee, let's say for instance, the company has one office in Mombasa Road and they have another one in Gigiri, and you have moved an employee from Mombasa Road to Gigiri and they are asking for a buffer, then I would want to understand exactly why I need to incur an additional cost. Because for the first case that I have given out, given the distance, and you have not offered to relocate this employee to Naivasha, then it is reasonable for you to take up this additional cost, because this is not something they had budgeted for at the point of engagement. And this is like, they are not refusing to take up the new position, or rather the new location. What they're saying is, kindly assist me at this point, because if I go like this for the next 1 month, it is not sustainable for me. But if it is within proximity, like around, then I think you need to have a conversation with the employee, and it's called engage them, and make things clear on how far you can stretch and how far you are willing to offer, how much you are willing to offer and how much you are not able to offer.
Okay, there's 2 questions. I think these are the last questions that we're going to take, because this conversation will be a never ending. Morina Tieno is saying, how does one justify an increment? What are some of the reasons one would quote as reasons why they want an increment?
All right. First, I will start by saying one of the reasons you should not quote is, I have been here for the last 7 years. Doing what? That is the answer that probably you will get. But some of the reasons why you would justify an increment is, one, there have been additional roles that have been added, or the employer has promoted you to a different position, which means that this is not the point where you were engaged, and some additional responsibilities have come up, and you feel that this should be attached with an increment. And then also, the other reason why, the other justification you need to provide is for an increment is your targets. Have you met and surpassed your targets, and you think you are a performer, and you feel that given how much effort you have put and everything else that you have done within the company, you deserve an increment, then those are two key things that you would use to justify an increment. But don't just walk in and say, I have stayed here for this long and I would like you guys to increase my salary. The cost of living has gone up. Mm-mm.
Okay, and I think you had covered that. But there's somebody who's saying salaries are negotiated according to budget. That was by Ismail. Where is it? Salaries are pegged on available budget. How do you reverse already negotiated one?
Salaries are negotiated on a budget. And when we are talking about negotiation of salaries, there are two issues. There is an offer and there is an acceptance. If I have a budget of 50,000 and that is what I have given you, and you have negotiated up to 60, then I feel that as an employer, I might not be in a position to pay this. Then I will probably move on to the next person because I cannot afford you. So there's an offer and an acceptance, and this works for both parties. You accept the offer that the employer has given and assume that you renegotiate, which means you are now the one who is giving an employer a new offer. The employer is also at liberty to accept or reject the offer based on the budget that they have. I hope I have answered that.
Okay. So, Aki, we need to finish this conversation. Is it right for an employer to tell the employee that certain cadre of job has no salary increment?
Not really. I don't think that is right, because salary increment is not based on cadre of jobs. Because even when we look at even as low income jobs, like for instance, if we are talking about security guards or we are talking about house help, we have salary increment. So there's no role in this country that have no room for salary increment, because there are two things here. Either the increment is discussed internally with the in the management, or there is the wages order that is provided by the government, which is revised sometimes yearly or when the president feels like it. So all roles are viable for an increment.
Yeah, and Frank is adding another way of getting a better salary. You need to add value by enhancing your knowledge, skills, and qualifications such that you can perform your job better and also take on more responsibility. This will result in employer paying better or even your confidence. And this is me adding, it also helps you build your confidence in looking for more jobs at a higher grade than what you're currently earning, because sometimes the employer may not be able to pay you what you're worth, but with the skills that you have gained, you're able to also apply for jobs. And out of curiosity, Ivy is saying, so who do HR managers go to when they want an increment? We go to the directors, we go to the management. We have people we report to, so that's where we actually do go to.
I didn't get that question. I think there's a network instability there.
No, the question was, so who does HR go to when they want an increment? And I'm saying we also have people we report to.
The HR has a supervisor. You have a supervisor, and whether you are a HR manager or a HR director or whatever they call you in that organization as a HR, you report to someone unless you are the owner of the company and you report to yourself. So talk to your supervisor about it.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So now on that note, on the note of providing you with skills that will help you negotiate your salaries better, of course, we have an offer from Pathway Solutions. And the offer tonight, we are saying we have two offers. We have for companies and we have for individuals. For companies, they have two courses to choose from. From the Aki today, my throat is just messing me up. I keep feeling like I'm really straining to talk. And however, I hope everybody can hear me and hear me clearly. Yeah, so we have two choices from the executive leadership brochure, which I'll be sharing. So if you're on this call and wish to have your organization get free training by Pathway Solutions on Zoom, these sessions will be delivered by Frank himself. And the date will be chosen in agreement with you. Most likely, this will take place in August. So what you can do is send me an email and copy Frank. And Kevin, please confirm the email for Frank. Last time, I think we got the spelling wrong. So you can copy paste from your email and put it on the chat, and mine as well. If you send to me alone, kindly note, you will not qualify for this. If you send to Frank alone, you will also not qualify. Please make sure you copy myself and Frank for this. So apply for your organization to get training. And this offer is only for 10 companies. So if you're on this call and you would want your organization to be trained for free, send me an email and we'll share the executive brochure, a leadership brochure with you, and you can choose 2 sessions for your team. And of course, terms and conditions of apply. You must write a paragraph justifying why you want to be your team to be trained or get the sponsored course. And then why is the course important to you? And then please note the condition is also that this is not for previous winners. This is for new people who have not gotten any opportunity to be trained by Pathway Solutions. So send us an email. Kevin has put the email addresses on the chat, and you get an opportunity to have your organization trained for free by Pathway Solutions on a topic of choice from the brochure that we're going to share with you. And then for the individuals here, you have 10 courses to choose from. And you have to commit to completing the training via the LMS within 35 days. So if you know in the next 35 days, you're going to be very busy, please note that this is not for you. You can wait until probably it is time for you. But the individual courses, you can select a maximum of 2 from what's on your screen. Please take a screenshot so that you can be able to send us a request justifying why you need the course, and we will be able to give you 2 of them from this list. And the list is for delivering constructive criticism. For those of you who are asking how to give feedback, employee onboarding, employee motivation, employee recognition, health and wellness at work, human resource management, high performance team inside the company, millennial onboarding, motivating salespeople, and performance management. So for the individuals on the call, this is the offer for you. You get 2 sessions on the LMS, and this has to be completed within the 35 days. So send us an email with a request for this and we'll be able to give. Please note this is for 5 people only. And as always, it's first come, first served. So if you haven't gotten a chance to be trained, maybe this is your chance to get that done. So I've announced for both individuals and also for companies. So take advantage of this offer. They have beautiful certificates for everyone who gets to complete. Kevin and Catherine have also gotten a chance to train with Pathways, and they have only good things to say about that. So Anne, your parting shot. Anne, you're frozen. Anne, are you back? Anne, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, you had frozen. Your parting shot.
Okay, so as we close on this session, whether you are looking to change jobs or you are currently in a job where you feel you are at a position where you are ripe, for lack of a better word, for an increment, you need to be able to raise your hand. It starts by you raising your hand. And especially for those who are looking for an increment in an existing position. Because don't sit and assume that the employer is seeing what I am doing and so they will revise my salary. If you feel that you are in a position to have that revision done, show up, prepare your presentation and go there and make a statement. Then at that point, you will now have left it in the hands of the employer. And if it takes too long, or you feel that there's no response as far as your request is concerned, and you start to develop frustrations here and there, then normally what I recommend is probably you just move forward, look for a new employer, because the moment that frustration hits you, even your performance standards, they start to go down. So that is for existing employees. For those who are joining new jobs, negotiate. Do not just say yes to an offer that has been given to you. If you feel that it is low, negotiate, because all companies have a budget for that position that they're hiring for. So don't be cheated. And sometimes the budget is higher, but because HR people are trying to cut costs, they will try to cut that down. So negotiate and get the best, your acceptable minimum. If you feel that it is way too low, walk away, if that is the decision that you've made. So thank you guys so much for listening to me this evening, and I hope that what we've shared will be able to make a difference even as you move forward, and have yourselves a lovely evening.
Thank you so much, Anne. There's somebody, Brenda Abuavo, who says, what's your take when 3 candidates that have given offers for the same role, but to come back to negotiate upwards, your salary scale allows various steps. Is it okay to give different salaries to different people undertaking the same role? Honestly, let us be the people's people. Let us be fair. Let us give fairness, let us be fair to people. John Derito, I don't know what you wanted to say, but we are about to finish. Maybe you can go ahead for a minute. Okay, his hand is back down. I really apologize. Somebody is saying, my God, you sound like I don't know what. I don't know what's happening to my throat. I think I'm coming down with a cold, but it's not here yet. So we are grateful. But yes, allow us to appreciate our partners this evening. We have Balcon Housing. Balcon Housing is a real estate and property management company. We have Stallion Construction Company. If you're looking to change your tiles or put blinders in your office, or just partition your offices, or just anything to do with repairs in your workplace, or you're putting up a fresh house, then Stallion Construction Company are your people. Pathway Solution Services, they're a training company. Of course, you have had the offers from Pathway Solution Services, and their certificates are out of this world. And then we have Institute of Pension Management. If you're a HR professional here and you're looking for a college to do your CHRP, the July intake is currently ongoing. And then we have College of Career Guidance and Development. If you want to become a career guider, to practice career guidance, or in your organization, you're looking for people to come and talk to your teams about careers, then College of Career Guidance and Development will be able to support you on that. And then we have Fina Gardens Resort. Fina Gardens Resort is a hotel located in Naivasha. If you go there and say that you are a follower of Get It Right with Atara Solutions, or just mention that you're from, Nzula Grace, you will be able to enjoy a 10% discount. And if you take your holiday in August, book 2 days and get 1 night free. And then we have Panessa Training Institute for those of you who want to study woodworking. We have We Clean for those of you who, it's a carpet cleaning company. Please don't stay with a dirty carpet, especially in the cold season for those in Kenya. They do 24-hour delivery. Then we have Kapula Mintito. We have the Career Management Center, and you have Ames College of Business and Technology. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you, Catherine Sidandi. I personally appreciate you. I appreciate you, Kevin. I appreciate you, Anna. Thank you so much for being here today. And of course, we have Jacinta. Please follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. And I think David was also on the call. All those people at Team Atara. And we really, really appreciate you for always sacrificing your evening. Yeah, so follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Felix is saying what? I am aware that increment goes with performance. However, I have seen situations where in my appraisal, the performance was revised to award me an 84%, minimum 90, to indicate that I did not qualify for a raise. How do I seek redress with this? That one you can appeal. So please join our, and you can get in touch with Anne for further discussion, because honestly, time has really moved. So join our WhatsApp group. I think Kevin has put in the link to get information on what's happening on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. And of course, follow us on Instagram, at Tara Solutions. And then Facebook, it's also Atara Solutions. YouTube, it's Get It Right with Atara Solutions. So WhatsApp and YouTube, it's Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Facebook and Instagram is Atara Solutions. So keep it locked. It's a HR month for HR. Every HR logged in on this call. We appreciate you. We are celebrating you this month. Please invite us for your branch activities. I know in Mount Kenya, we are visiting 2 high schools next week. So, and we really appreciate if you're HR, please go celebrating yourself, because this is our month. And for those who are HR practitioners, I know we had some people from Rwanda. I've seen Aaron. We have people from Kampala. We have people from Europe as well. So thank you so much for sacrificing your time and being here. Asanteni sana. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place, as we figure out what else is affecting HR professionals in Kenya. And we will end with the session with how do you grow your career in HR on the global level. We have a guest, an awesome guest, a good friend of mine who is playing HR at a global level. What is it to the SME hapa polepole? That one is going to tell us how we can grow. So please, if you want the offers from Pathway Solutions, get in touch with me. We appreciate you, all our partners. We appreciate you, all our people. Kevin, I don't know whether you wanted to add something.
I'm good. Thank you so much, Anne, for today's topic. It's actually synced so well with that is the previous session on BSc. So thank you so much. And I'm really grateful to Pathway Solutions for the trainings they've offered me as an individual. And being an alumni, I feel so proud.
We have lost you, Kevin. We can see you smiling very hard, but we had lost you for a minute, and we are happy. Thank you. Sawa. So you guys have yourselves a good night. Kevin, you had the music. You were our DJ today, and yeah, some of us need to really go and sleep. We are not feeling too good. All right. Good night, people.